What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more of the Trigun score, and we're returning for the 1999 composition by Imahori Tsuneo. I mentioned I just started doing a watch-along to this show on my Patreon, so I'll put the link in the video description. And this soundtrack is very wide-ranging in its sonic and genre influences. But yes, we're going to listen to tracks that largely correspond to my progression through the show. Again, there's only one video up right now, the first 3 episodes, but I'm planning on doing the next one very soon, and we'll go through the show with a degree of celerity. But we're going to hear a tune that's called Not an Angel, and I'm not going to be too detailed about my comments on some of the track titles because they are written in a way, or they're titled in a way that does speak to narrative developments and understanding, so I'll be a bit cryptic, but yes, the tune is used very prominently in episode 2 and is actually done in a way that visually sort of gives an insight, or rather an explanation to the opening rhythm and melody of the track, which is to say there's a very warped record playing on an old school phonograph record player, and it suggests that part of the reason for the sound that you hear at the beginning of the track is because the record is warped, and so the stylus is riding up and down on this warped piece of vinyl, but in fact I think it's a very melodic intro to a tune that evolves a bit, and by the end we're going to get some cello, and there's a very chamber music sound to it. But yes, it's a track that's used prominently in episode 2 during a section where we get a bit of explanation, though maybe that explanation is not quite what it appears to be on the surface. So yes, again, I'm going to be a bit cryptic as we go through this soundtrack, or at least I won't say anything that is too far ahead of where we are in the narrative of the show itself. So let's hear it. This is a track called Not an Angel by Imahori Tsuneo from the Trigun 1998 soundtrack. And I think the name of the soundtrack is The First Donuts, which, if you've seen the show, you'll know that Vash the Stampede, the main character, is very fond of donuts. a fade out, which I feel like on soundtracks or scores is slightly less common because typically there's purposeful composition in relation to moments or scenes where the tracks are used. Nevertheless, I do feel like it suggests that it could indeed just remain in that mellow, calm, and melodic mode indefinitely. I do very much enjoy the mixture of the mellow guitar work, which again I'm going to assume is Imahori Tsuneo directly, not just composing but playing, though that is not based on actual knowledge, just an assumption that since he's a guitarist that he led the compositions and soundtrack with his own playing, but also with the cello, which I think is a cello. I suppose it could be actually a contrabass, but I feel like it's probably a cello, and maybe there's a violin in there too, but the string meets strummed, the bowed string instrument meets strummed string instrument, I think is a very good combination, and it has both a modern and a classical feel to it at the same time, and a very calm and comforting sort of atmosphere overall. So again, given the places that it's used in the show, I think it is used purposefully in that way. Though, as I said, in the part where it's used in episode 2, there's more than is on the surface that's going on, as you learn by the end of the episode. So I think it's very cleverly used as well, and indeed with the visual of the warp record at the beginning with that looping, almost warped type of sonic. So yeah, I think it fits very well. As I said, this soundtrack has an incredibly diverse range of music on it, so we'll find that out as we go through both the soundtrack and the show on my Patreon. Let me know what you think of this one, and I will see you next time. Peace.